or you can be seated. So let's all take a beautiful breath in and just exhale out through the mouth. And we'll do that 2 more times, breathing in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. And as you exhale, letting go of any tension and letting go of anything from your week. And taking a moment to arrive in your body, to arrive in the energy and the awareness of your inner self beyond the physical body. So just noticing how you're feeling, noticing the energy in your body. What does that feel like for you? If you could describe it, what would you say? Just noticing within yourself what that feeling, that aliveness feels like. So there's energy, there's prana, vital energy within the body, and it expands a little further out than the physical body. So it's the same shape as the body, but it expands a little further out. And there's also energy all around us in everything, in all of the universe. And taking a moment to really tune into those sort of 3 main areas. So the heart space. You can feel into the heart and even ask yourself here, what am I in need of? At this time, and just notice if anything comes up. You can even have your hand rest on your heart if that helps. And we can ask that again, but this time keeping in mind the gut, or with the awareness on the belly and the gut. What does your belly, what does your gut sense that you're in need of? Maybe something else comes up, or maybe it's the same thing as when we tuned into the heart. And then we can also tune into the mind, but we can imagine tuning into the 3rd eye. Sort of higher mind, the wisdom within. And you can ask yourself here, what am I in need of here? What is my higher self guiding and suggesting at this time? What is it sharing with me when I stop and slow down and listen? So when we take the time to be still and take this time for ourselves, it might be the only time that we have, or the only time that we actually tune in and ask ourselves this question: how am I and what am I in need of? Is there anything I need to change at the moment to bring more well-being and health, more love and happiness into my life? What can I do for myself at this time, whether it's to do with my own routine or my own things that are in my own control? The food that nourishes me. What am I doing with my time and my energy? Have I got balance? any areas I need to pay attention to? It's all of these sorts of questions. And we're just noticing and listening without judgment. And then now we're going to begin with a little bit of Nadi Shodhana. So when you're ready, we'll take our hand into Nasagwa Mudra and we'll gently close the right nostril, and we're going to inhale through the left nostril to the count of 3. And then close the left. Let's breathe out through the right. And then breathe in through the right. And out through the left. That's one round. So in left. Out right. In right. Out left. That's the second round. And we'll continue and do another 5 rounds in your own time. And if you have any difficulty breathing through one or both nostrils, you can also release the hand and just do the practice mentally and psychically. So although you won't close the nostrils, you'll just imagine the breath moving in the same pattern. And just notice you might find you can lengthen the breath to the count of 4 or even 5, just listening into your body, being gentle. And completing one final round. And you'll finish your round with an exhalation through your left nostril. So once you've completed that, take your time. Just let the hands rest down and notice how you feel for a moment. Take a few long breaths in and out. And perhaps just notice a slight shift. Just notice any sort of slight differences, perhaps from when we began the practice to now. And then we can relax the body, and when you feel ready to, let's blink open the eyes. And we're going to stretch our legs out because we've been sitting there for a little while. If they were crossed, let them stretch out, and let's start to circle our ankles around. Feeling into your feet and your ankle joints. Getting a little bit of movement here. And then let's go in the other direction. Good. And then let's point the toes toward the ground. And then inhale, lifting the toes towards you. Exhale away. Inhale towards you. And we'll do that a couple more times. Feel the breath and just notice as we do this if you're carrying any tension, sort of in the shoulders or the jaw. And just allow ourselves to slow down and to relax the body. And now let's sit up and we'll take hold of our right leg and we're going to bend and then extend the leg away. And as we bend, we're inhaling. As we extend, we're exhaling. One more. Good. And then circle the leg around, and we'll do 5 or 6 in each direction. And the other way. And then release your foot down, stretch that leg away. Let's do the other leg. Bending, we inhale. Straightening, we exhale. We'll do 6 of these. Close the eyes and tune into your breath. Imagine energy flowing into your knee, and you'll also feel some energy in the hip here, perhaps in the lower back as well. I lost count. I think we've got one more. And then let's circle the lower leg around. And then the other way. And release that leg down and stretch that leg away. Let's bend both of our knees and bring our feet together in butterfly, Baddha Konasana. And just letting the knees gently lift up and down, softening into your hips. Take some beautiful breaths here. Beautiful. Now let's lift our knees and stretch our legs out again. Bend our right knee and bring our foot either into the thigh, or if you can bring it up onto the hip, in toward the hip crease on the thigh, then you can do that. Otherwise, the gentler one is to bring it into the thigh. And we're going to inhale, lift the leg, and as we exhale, gently lower the leg down. If the foot's into the thigh, we just inhale, drawing the knee in, and exhale, lightly opening that leg. So just do whichever version is okay for you. We'll do maybe 3 more. Beautiful. And then we can place the foot back down and just rest your left hand behind you. And we're going to reach and see if we can take hold of the big toe. If you're wearing socks, you can always take the edge of the foot and just rest back a little into the hand and maybe lift the leg. See how that goes, maybe starting to straighten it out. It's okay if it's bent. Good, and then we're going to do a few little circles here. It'll feel a little bit strange. But imagine you're sort of circling the leg. I'm sort of rocking forward and back a little bit as I do this. So I'm moving with the leg. So let your body sort of move with the leg. The arm, the body, moving with the leg. And then if you can go the other way, See how that goes, just a few times. And then maybe have a little stretch out again. And then release that foot down, stretch the leg away. We're going to do a little forward bend before we do the other side. So we're going to reach up with the arms in Dandasana, press down through the back of the legs, and then exhale into a gentle forward bend. Doesn't have to be far, it might be really, really gentle. You can always bend the knees here or keep the legs active. Lengthen up along the spine, hug in a little bit into your belly. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale the breath all the way out. I just lost my microphone down my top. I'll clip that back on. And then another nice deep breath in. And exhale the breath all the way out. Beautiful. We're going to do that on the other side. So now we'll bend the left leg and we'll reach and take hold of the big toe or the foot. Rest back on your right hand so you've got that as support. You can do this without the support, but I quite like having it as a guide. So just see how that feels. We're going to lift and start to straighten the leg first. Just have a little stretch. And then we can start to get a little bit of movement there. See how that feels? You can always try without the support. You might prefer that. You could always let the other hand rest on the thigh or beside you instead. Or you can rock a bit more and have that hand there as support for you. And just moving with the leg. Just sort of like a little wheel turning and the sort of cogs are moving with the wheel. And then we can go in the other direction. And we can release that foot down. Oh, well, before we finish, have another little stretch. And then release that leg. Oh, and relax it down. And just rest back on the hands for a moment and just let the legs sort of rock in and out. Moving in and out a few times. Good. And then let's take our legs to the side and come up onto our hands and our knees. We're going to do some cat-cow. So we'll stack our joints, shoulders over our wrists and our hips over our knees. And then when you're ready, moving into your cat-cow pose, opening through the front of the body, lift the gaze. And as we exhale, rounding, pulling in through the belly, tucking the chin to the chest, feeling that stretch all the way down the spine. And we'll do another 5 in your own time with your breath. And then we can come back into a neutral spine. Now let's raise the right leg out behind us. We'll come into our cat balance. Holding here, or extend the left arm up as well. Focus on a point, keeping the gaze nice and steady. Let's take 4 breaths. And see if you can reach a little from the fingertips all the way down to the heel. Well done. Let's lower the hand and lower the leg to the ground. And then we'll go the opposite way, other leg extending, lifting the leg. Stay here or raise the arm as well. And reach out across the body. And we'll hold here. Let's take another 4 breaths. And then lower the hand, lower the leg to the ground. Take the buttocks to the heels in Balasana, child pose. The arms can either extend forward, or you could rest the forearms onto the ground, or make fists with the hands and rest the forehead on the fists. You can even, if the arms are extended, press a little into the hands to sink the buttocks toward the heels. And now we'll come into an optional downward facing dog. If you wanted to curl the toes under, lift up onto the knees, spread out through the hands, and lift and press back into downward facing dog. And if downward dog isn't for you today, that's okay. You could always do a few more cat-cows instead. And we can bend the knees if you like, and really pressing our hips back. Or you can walk the legs. Or you could find a little stillness here. Well done. Let's lower the knees to the ground and just come down to rest on our tummies for a moment. And you can take the forearms out in front of you and rest your forehead onto your top hand or your arms. And then let's lift up into Sphinx now. We'll take the forearms onto the ground. Well done. Elbows under the shoulders. And then lifting up into a Sphinx and feeling a slight engagement here down through the legs. You want to feel the top of the feet on the ground. And the heels, just notice we don't want them sort of rolling in, so they're nice and straight, or we're sort of peeling even the little toes toward the mat. And we can find a little opening through the front of the body. If it's too strong on the neck, just looking down. Otherwise, we can look forward and open across the collarbones. Let's take a little longer here. Find the breath. And then we can gently release down. You can come onto the forearms again, or you could take the hands down beside the body and just let yourself rest for a few breaths. And then we can come up and either do a Sphinx again, or if you wanted to do a Cobra, take the hands under the shoulders, make the legs a bit active, lift and roll the shoulders back, engage through the legs and lifting up into a Cobra. The elbows are still bent, doesn't have to be high. Otherwise, Sphinx on the forearms is fine as well. And we might gently lower down and just hold for a moment. And then you've got the choice to come up one more time, nice and strong through the legs, lifting up again. And gently release down. Let's take the hands either side of the ribs, lifting up and press back into a child pose. This time you might like to make fists and rest your forehead onto your top fist. And breathing into the back of the body here. Breathing length all the way along the spine. Feeling the energy in your body. Notice how you feel after doing those gentle back bends. Gentle, but also not so gentle. Sometimes they can be quite strong, especially Cobra. And then we can gently roll up our spine. Beautiful. And we're going to take the knees apart and do lion pose. If it's not comfortable sitting like this, just make any adjustments that you need to for your body so that you can be comfortable. And we can take the fingers down onto the ground, spreading through the hands. That's a lift through the heart, lifting the gaze to the third eye. Inhale through the nose, and we'll exhale and extend the tongue out and make out that roaring lion sound. We're going to do 6 of these. You can even do these sitting on a chair or kneeling or standing up even. So we can inhale, lifting the gaze to the third eye. Exhale, extend the tongue out, letting out your roaring lion. And we're looking up to the third eye, breathing in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth. Let's do another 4. One more. And then sitting up gently. Sometimes it can make you cough a little bit, or just notice as you close the eyes, notice how you feel through the mouth and the jaw and the face. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale the breath all the way out. And blink open the eyes. We're going to make our way to standing. So just coming up and popping any props that were on your mat, just popping them aside. Coming all the way up to standing. Very good. And let's just start by taking our hands onto our shoulders, and we'll start to do a few shoulder circles. So we did a bit of joint loosening with the legs. Let's also open up through the shoulder joints. Get the energy and the prana flowing here. Good. And then we'll go in the other direction. Have a little shake into the arms. And actually we'll do a little bit of the silk threading, which we do with Qi Gong, which is a nice exercise for opening the wrists. So we're turning the wrists, but we can just do one at a time. And we just use the other hand on the wrist area. So I'm actually feeding, as I turn I'm doing my, let's say, your left wrist, if I'm mirroring, I'm actually letting it feed in between my own arms as I sort of keep the hand to the wrist. But anyway, you don't have to feed it through. You could just have contact and just gently feel that warmth on the wrist. And then we go in the other direction, feeling that contact with your wrist. And then keeping the contact with the hands, take the other hand to the other wrist without taking the hands off the body. And let's do the other side. And sometimes one feels better than the other. It can take you a little while to get this. Once you've got it, you've got it. Just see how it feels for you. Yeah. And you can go the other way. And you can just stand comfortably, or you can rock, or you can sway the hips, or whatever feels good for you while you do this. And then from here we make our way up to the elbow. So keeping the hand on the body, take your hand to your elbow, and then we do the same here. And once again, now I'm feeding my whole arm in between my arms, in between the gap in my arms, so I can circle that arm around. But find your own way. If that doesn't feel comfortable, see how you go. Sometimes we get this straight away. Sometimes it can take a while. And then we can go the other direction. Feel that warmth on the elbow. And we can even sort of thank our beautiful joints as we do this. And we can take the other hand to the other elbow, and we can do the other side. Good. And we can go the other direction. Really good. And then let's take our hands now, feet are hip width apart, down to the knees. circles of our knees. And you'll feel that the ankles will move as well. Go a few times one way. They don't have to be big, just small circles, and then the other way. And then we can take our hands to our hips and we can circle our hips around. So just doing circles here in whatever way, and you can bend a little bit at the waist as well, and come forward and around, and press them out to the sides. Feel into your hips. And this is all part of a Qigong series we call silk threading, which is a joint loosening. Very similar to a lot of the yoga ones we do. Beautiful. So I'll throw a few little Qigong ones in, and that way you'll get a feel, and if you like them I can do some more another time, or we can just stick to the yoga. Let's take the feet in our base position, very similar to Tadasana, the base position. The feet are parallel and straight. The main difference that I find is in Qigong, they imagine that there's eggs, little quail eggs, under the armpits. So the arms are a little bit wider and the fingers are long, because they say the energy has to flow all the way down to the tips of the fingertips. So we don't sort of make fists or loose fists. We have the fingers nice and extended. Imagine the legs under the armpits, and the knees are slightly bent. So a little bit soft. So you want to feel like you're pressing down into the ground, almost like you've got corkscrews in the bottom of the feet, and that the feet are sort of drilling down into the ground or nuzzling into the ground, and that's where we're getting the energy then up through the body. So there's this real sense of grounding, and the spine is long. It's a little bit different with that bent feeling. And then they say that they call this area the Qua, along the sort of down the hip line in the bikini line area. And you want to imagine there's eyes here. So there's a sort of opening, and you feel that when you let the tailbone just sort of drop down a bit, and with that little bit of a bend, and when the feet really engage, you can feel the abdomen engage a little bit, and that's the sensation. And then the crown of the head, of course, is lifting up, and that's the base position. And they actually spend in Qigong training, especially if it's really traditional Qigong, they can spend months just standing like this, just to find and feel the energy and the alignment in the body. And sometimes you can really feel the energy tingling here. Maybe you can feel that sense of aliveness and the prana, or they call it Qi, the Chinese version of our prana. And then they always start with opening the gates. And if you imagine we're opening all of the chakras, you could imagine all of the energy gates. Particularly they talk about this lower one a lot in the abdomen, which would be similar to our Swadhisthana. They call it the lower Dantien. And then when we open the gates, we turn the palms and we slowly raise the arms, really slowly, with the palms facing up. And after they come over the head, the palms come down, and we slowly take them just away from the body. So we're not touching the body, and they're coming down, and we're sinking a little bit down into the knees, and we're floating the arms all the way down. And we do that always 3 times. So it's nice and slow. We're still connecting down into the ground. We're opening the energy channels, allowing the energy to flow and restore. The palms are coming down. And one more time, really slow. There's no hurry. It's like we're sort of really letting ourselves enjoy that slow, savouring the slow movement and the sensation of energy perhaps in the hands, in the body. We're going to do one they call just arm swinging, very simple. You do a little bend in the knees, and you just let the arms swing forward and back. And there's sort of a little double bounce. So I'm just letting the palms face behind me, and the top of the hand is facing forward. I'm just swinging the arms back and forward. Only only up to sort of shoulder height, no higher. And we're just bouncing a little bit into the knees. Some people find this bouncing a bit tricky to get into the rhythm of. So just find your own way. And we're getting the arms moving, getting the energy into the shoulders, getting the movement here. We'll do a few more. Makes me think of breath of joy, like we could go into that. We'll do a few more. These ones have a bit of a quicker movement because they're sort of warming us up while we're standing. And then we come back, slowing the arms down, coming back. And then finding that base position again, just for a couple of breaths, slight bend in the knees, the opening into the hips, the eggs under the armpits, the fingers are long. They imagine that there's eyes in the palms of the hands as well. Notice the energy. Well done. Now this next one's called Qi Scatter. We imagine that we're releasing any negative energy that we no longer need. Very simple. The arms come out to the side and we're just swinging one arm across the body at a time. And we can bend a little into the knees, get a little bit of a bob. And as we do this, the arms are coming up, the back of the hands is facing forward, and we're actually sending the palm away. So the palm and the arms crossing the body, and you can look toward the hand. So once again, there's a little bit of a bend in the knees, the palms crossing over the body, nice and close. And just any breathing that you like here. I tend to inhale with the arms out, exhale the side, but whatever feels good in your body. And the hips are still sort of facing forward as much as possible, and we're feeling that sort of twist in the waist and the upper body. We're trying to keep the hips facing forward. Good. Do a couple more. And then we can gently come back to center. And we just finish in that base pose. Take a nice deep breath in and all the way out. Let's take our hands into the heart in our prayer position. And we're going to do one called pushing heaven and earth, or pushing the sky and the earth. So just follow along. One hand is, we separate the hands, and one hand is going up above, palm facing up to the sky. The other one's coming beside the body, fingers facing forward, pushing down. So we're pushing up to the sky and down. And then we bring the hands back to the heart. And whenever we bring the hands back to the heart, there's that slight bend again in the legs. And then as we do this, we push away and we almost lengthen a bit up through the body. And then we come back, slight bend. And we do this nice and slow. Slowly the hands separate. We imagine the earth energy beneath that lower hand and the universal energy up above the other palm, as though we're connecting to both. And then we come back to center. So just do a few more, just in your own time, nice and slow. You really can't go slow enough here. Conscious movement. Let's do one more on each side. Well done. And then coming back to center. Let's lower the hands down back in that base position, feeling into your feet. And it might look like sometimes like the feet probably in Qigong are a tiny bit wider than in yoga. So they're like a wide hip stance, if not a teeny bit wider. And they say that if you make two fists with the hands and you bring them together, and if you take the arms down and look down to the feet, you should be able to just fit your two fists in between the big toes. Or just resting sort of on the edge of the toes. And then we can come back. We're just only going to do a couple more of these. So this next one I love. This is called wave. I'm going to go side on so you can see. We take the hands one over the other hand. So they're just crossed slightly, sort of just like one on top of the other. Can you see that? And then I'm going to be a bit closer to you. What we're going to do, you're in that base position. You can go a little bit wider if you want. And we're bending and we're bringing the arms up the body just in front, so we're not quite touching. And then we're looking up as we reach the arms up above the head. We're not changing the hands at all. And then we're bending forward and we're doing, imagine we're sort of scooping up the energy in a forward bend. They call this the wave. So we're going up the body, the hands are staying where they are, they're facing then outward, and we're going forward, slight forward bend, not too deep, and then the hands are coming down and up in front of the body again. And then we want to really get a little bit of a wave. So we're coming forward and then we're tucking the tailbone under and rolling up the spine, reaching up and keeping the spine a bit straighter as we come down, and then we're rolling up in a sort of wave-like action. And just see how that feels. And then notice, nice and slow, conscious. We'll just do a couple more. Feel that through the body. Keep length on the way down along the spine, bending into the knees a bit deeper. Slowly coming up in this beautiful wave in the body. Last one. And then once we finish, we're going to separate the hands and reach right up toward the sky. So reach right up with the arms, separate the hands, palms facing forward, reaching. And then we're just going to bring the hands down and over the back of the head, all the way down the neck, and then coming down the sides of the body. And we're bending forward. We're doing a forward bend. We're going to bend into the knees. Take the arms down the back of the legs, the hands coming all the way down the legs, onto the feet, and then just holding the edges or touching or even giving the edge of the feet a rub. And if you can't reach the feet, don't worry. You could just come down to the calves, or if you can reach the feet, we will. And then we bend the knees, and we're going to roll all the way up. And then just rolling the shoulders back a few times. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale the breath all the way out. We've got one more. This one's called stroking the dragon's tail. So this same base position, now we're going to bring the palms to face us. You can't see, I'll come a bit closer. So the palms are facing us. And then we take the arms to one side. The hips are still facing forward. Arms are coming to one side, so we're looking at the palms. And then we're going to turn the palms and extend the arms away. So that back arm will almost straighten. And then we turn the palms and we draw them in toward us. Imagine you're stroking, in this case, a dragon's tail, bringing the hands toward us. Keep a little bit of a bend in the knees. And then pushing slowly away. And then drawing the palms in, and they're relatively high. So my eye level is also at my middle, almost at my back middle finger. Pushing the arms away. Slowly bringing the arms in. One more. And then we can gently lower the arms all the way down, just float them over to the other side. And we'll do the other side. Hips are facing forward. Feel that little bit of a bend in the legs. And then pressing the arms away, really slow, and then drawing them toward us. Pressing them away. drawing them in. Good. And we'll do a couple more. Last one. Beautiful. Coming all the way back and just lower the arms down. And there's so many more. There's all these other ones, picking cherries and monkey ones and all kinds. And some of them are quite a long series when you're sort of doing all of this other scooping of things and bringing the water in and the energy in. They're quite beautiful. But we're going to do a little chi massage, and then we're going to do a few yoga poses. So with the chi massage, it's very similar to what I normally do. There's only a couple of slight changes. We're going to start on the chest. So we're going to tap all the way across. So imagine under the collarbone on one side, tapping all the way over to the other side, and doing that a couple of times. And we can even go down the chest a bit and up the chest a little bit. Just tapping along. And then we'll open one arm and we're going to go down the inside of the arm, tapping along to the palm and the fingers, over the back of the hand, tapping all the way up the outside of the arm to the back of the shoulder, tapping on the back of the shoulder, and then back across the chest, and then we bring the other arm onto the chest and we start the tapping as we open the other arm, come up to the inner shoulder, just around under the collarbone, and then we're going to tap all the way along the inner arm, all the way back along the outside of the arm to the shoulder, and then we're going to tap the back of both shoulders. So just bring both hands up and behind and tapping on the back of the shoulders here, and then we go up the back of the neck. You can use your fingertips or whatever feels good. And then we're going to tap all over the back of the head. You can do the base of the skull, behind the ears. Imagine not missing anywhere. Tapping all the way over. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhaling out. And then let's go over the top of the face. Coming down, you could go over the nose and the lips and the chin, or over the jaw, the inner ear, up and over, all over the forehead, all across the brow and the cheeks, all the way along the jaw. And then we lift the chin, and we're actually going to go lightly over the neck and throat. So very lightly tapping as you look up a bit and tap down the neck, onto the chest, and then we go all the way down onto the tummy, and we do that sort of area of the quad on the hips and along that sort of inner hip crease area. Tapping here. And then we're going to go to the sides and just tap over the sides. And then we're going to go to the back in that kidney area. We can either tap with the hands, with the palms, or you can use, they often in Qigong take the back of the hands and sort of tap. And you can tap anywhere here. So you can tap up a little bit higher, the lower back. You can do down and spend a bit of time lightly on the kidney area. Getting the energy going there. And then back onto the sides of the hips. And now we're going to go down the legs. And we're going to do that like when we did that forward bend. We're going to go sort of the back and sides. So do the back and sides all the way down. You can bend and just go down to wherever you can. Back of the legs and back of the heels a little bit onto the top of the feet. And then we come up the inside and the front. So you're sort of just tapping all the way along the inside, a little bit on the front, all the way up back to that hip area. And then we can release and just notice how you feel for a moment in that base position, the eggs under the arms, lifting up along the spine, slight softening in the knees. Take a beautiful breath in, exhale out. And we'll do that again, deep breath in and out. And because we're finishing with these little qi practices we've done, we're going to close the gates. So we open the gates, we do this exactly the same way, 3 times, just in your own timing. You can look on a spot on the ground or close the eyes. And we're slowly going to close the energy gates, taking your time, there's no hurry. Hands are just coming down in front, nice and close to the body, not quite touching. Imagine energy, connecting to the energy around you and drawing that into your body. All of the chakras flowing with energy, light, activated, cleansed, balanced. At harmony with nature. We're made up of elements. We are nature. And then we can come back to that base position, take a few breaths. And relax. And we're going to do our tree pose now. So feel free to use the wall if you need to. We can take our hands to our hips. Shift the weight onto your left foot and we're going to be lifting the right. So we're going to lift the right foot up to the calf or the thigh. Notice how you feel. Focus on a point in front of you. Maybe bring the hands to meet. And breathe here. And even if the palms, if they come together, be aware of even energy in the hands. Energy in the body. And then we can gently release and lower. And just lift up and down onto the toes a couple of times. Stretch into your feet. And then we'll do the other side when you're ready. And the foot can come to the ankle, the calf, or up to the thighs. So just do what you did on the other side. I'm going to do the calf. You can hold on to your support or see how you go, bringing the hands into any position you're comfortable with or to the heart. And we can gently release the arms and the legs. Well done. We're going to do one more balance. And this is honouring our Shiva, because we had this week, there is the dark night of Shiva, which occurred, which is a festival they celebrate as well over in India. But we're going to do our dancing Shiva, and I'm going to come forward a bit so you can see. You can do it nice and gently. So we're going to imagine shifting the weight onto our right foot, or whichever foot you're comfortable with. And the left foot and leg are going to both move across the body. So you could try just the leg, or I tend to find doing them both together helps me better. But see how you go. You could keep the toes on the ground, the arm comes across, and then the other arm is coming into our little mudra, just chin or Jnana mudra. And if you're comfortable, that leg would lift across the body, and then we flex the foot. And then we're going to come down. So you'll see it as we move into it a bit more. So we shift onto the other foot, the leg and the arms coming across. So the gentle version, toe stays on the ground. The deeper version, the leg lifts. The arm lifts. The other elbow is almost coming to rest on the wrist, but not quite. And then we could take chin or Jnana mudra, index finger to meet the thumb. So I've got my chin mudra, legs coming across, and you start to see maybe dancing Shiva from that statue. And then we bring that foot down and we can go the other way. So see how you go. So we're always taking same arm and leg across in the same direction. Maybe the other arm is coming up. So I'll go back, you might see it a bit better. So we're just swapping to each side. Maybe the leg's lifting. Take your time, you might hold or you might keep it moving. And that's the other option. You could do the arms first. So you could take your hand in your mudra, bring the other wrist to almost meet, and then scoop the leg up. And ultimately, we are doing this. You can't really see, but this is his leg lifted here with his foot flexed. But Shiva, of course, has more arms than we do, so it's going to look a little bit different. Beautiful. And once you're finished, just come back to rest in Shavasana. Take a couple of breaths. Breathe in and breathing out. And again, breathing in and breathing out. And just for a moment, let's just stretch the head to one side and over to the other side. And we'll do that again. Coming back to center, let's turn to look over one shoulder. And then the other shoulder. And coming back to center. Let's come to lie down on our backs and just take a little rest. But we will have a belt handy just for our final. We're just going to do 2 final little practices before our relaxation. And we started a little bit late today, so if you're happy just going a tiny bit over. If you have to sign off at 1:15, then maybe just take a little rest in Shavasana now. Otherwise, come down and we're just going to do a couple of short things before our final relaxation. So come down and take a moment to relax on your back and to notice how you feel. Take a long, deep breath in, and you can always exhale out through the mouth. Beautiful. And we're just going to do a little spinal twist now. So we're going to bend both of our knees and walk our feet out toward the edges of our mat. Interlace the hands either behind the head or you can take the arms out at shoulder height. And we'll inhale center, and as we exhale, let's drop the knees over to one side and just looking out over the opposite shoulder. And then coming back to center, and then let's go in the other direction. And then continue on your own. We're going to do 3 more of these on each side. And you can move with the breath. So just 3 more on each side. Letting go of any tension that you have accumulated through the week, through your whole life actually. Sometimes there's things lingering in there for a long time, and we're just delving into all of those places. . And once you've completed your final one, coming back to center, just draw both knees into the chest. So just hugging the knees in. And you can circle the knees around a few times in each direction. And then lower your feet onto the ground, and we're just going to do Padangusthasana with the legs. So we can use our belt and take it across our right foot and just stretch that leg up to the sky. Let the shoulders release in the back of the body on the ground, and taking some beautiful breaths here. And then breathing up and down the spine. And then we can gently swap legs and do the left side or the other leg. Let the shoulders release down the back of the body, and let's take some beautiful breaths here, feeling length down that side. Breathing into your belly. And then let's gently release that leg. Stretch that leg away from us. And we're going to now prepare for Shavasana. So you can either just rest where you are, or if you've got a little pillow or a blanket you want to pop over your body. Just get anything that you need so you can relax, or perhaps you feel ready to just lie straight down here. And as you come down, just really tuning in again into the energy, and notice how you feel. You might feel a bit more spaciousness in certain parts of the body. Notice how that feels. Take your time. Once you've got everything you need, let yourself rest down and check that the spine is straight and the legs are comfortably apart. And taking some breaths here. So just taking a moment to tune into your breathing. Taking 4 or 5 relaxing breaths. Giving yourself permission to relax fully. to take this time to rest. Now, taking your awareness inwards, begin to take a moment to notice what is happening inwardly. Noticing sensations, noticing again that feeling of aliveness. What does the energy feel like in your body? How are you feeling? Even noticing any emotions that might arise from the practice. Begin to notice your breathing. Become aware of the natural rhythm of your breath. You might like to take your awareness to the nostrils or to your belly. And take a moment to observe the breathing. The breath flowing in, the breath flowing out. And notice your senses, the feeling sensation of your skin and your body. The temperature in the room. And the softness or the warmth of your blanket or your clothing. And you'll notice sounds inside and sounds outside. Just acknowledge them as they arise, in harmony with them. Take your awareness now to your heart. And can you tune in to your heartbeat? And we're going to now imagine tuning in to our inner smile. And it may even form a gentle outer smile on the edges of the lips, but awareness of an inner smile. And notice as you engage in this inner smile, does the energy in the body feel different? Did the heart open ever so slightly? Perhaps the body softened. Notice how this smiling affects your energy, your emotions, feelings, sensations. Imagine this smile spread to your cheeks and to the corner of your eyes. To your forehead. And imagine this smile growing to your entire body. Notice how it feels to smile. Take a deep breath and relax your face. And in the next breath, come to a full smile. And notice how you feel. Do you feel more happy and positive? Imagine your heart smiling, filled with a happy, vibrant energy. Bring the joy and happiness to your tummy, your whole abdomen. And down your legs. Imagine the knees smiling. The calves smiling. The ankles smiling and happy. And imagine the feet smiling. The energy smiling. And imagine smiles on each of the toes. Imagine the hips smiling. Imagine the sides of the waist smiling. The lower back smiling. And feeling this smiling energy move up the back, the middle back, the upper back, and imagine the whole back is smiling. All of the cells, the muscles, the fibers. Bring your awareness to the heart. See the heart smiling. Imagine the abdominal organs smiling. The liver, the gallbladder, the spleen, the kidneys, the pelvic organs, the lungs smiling. Imagine the shoulders smiling, and down the arms smiling, the elbows, the forearms, the wrists and hands, smiling in the palms of the hands. And the fingers smiling with smiles on the tip of each of the fingers. And imagine your whole body smiling. Enjoying this sense of ease and bliss and joy. Let your whole body feel positive, happy, and contented. And take a deep breath in and set an intention to bring this ease and bliss into your day and life. To allow for a slower, more connected day. So you may like to remain here for a little longer. Or if you feel ready to make your way back up, you might like to start getting a bit of movement. Noticing how you feel. Take a beautiful breath in and exhale the breath out. You're welcome to remain there, or if you would like to come up for our final chant, take your time to come up into a seated position. Excuse me. And I invite you to join me in our final chant. When you're ready, let's breathe in. Shanti, Shanti, Hari Om. Hari Om Tat Sat, peace, peace, peace. And just taking your hands into your beautiful heart if you haven't already. Let's take a couple of breaths here as you connect into your inner light of awareness. I thank you so much for joining me today and being open to give some of those Qigong practices a go. I hope you enjoyed them and have a beautiful week. Namaste.